welcome.
Wednesday, gentlemen. I gotta get used to still saying that, man. Whew.
So,
Lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, let's see what we got.
How you boys doing?
Very well.
Joey V?
Okay.
Doing okay.
Doing okay. We'll take it, baby. Middle of the week. It's almost the holidays. I'm looking forward to the time off of work. I know you guys got some time off as well. It'll be good. Time to reconnect. Say hello to the people in the chat. We got Ethan acknowledging
What up, E?
the one and only Mike Jones. Miguel, good day, sir. Yeah, man. I am trucking through. My kid is sick again. Came to work with me. Yeah, today was a long day. It's been a long week. He's got something. Something's going around. I'm not sure if your kids are sick or how they're doing, but man, I know, Joe, you were just getting over a cold and you still might not be fully rested and healed up, man. But like something's going on.
It's always a bug around this time of year.
I guess the way I'm looking at it, King J. Sean, what's up, bro? Better to get sick now than at Christmas. So get it out of the way.
That is true.
Right. So hopefully everyone is happy and healthy. This is our last show because next week is Christmas Day on Wednesday. So maybe we'll talk about the holidays at the end and what everyone's plans are for everyone who's watching tonight.
The following Wednesday would be New Year's Day, so.
That's right. So you're not going to see our pretty faces for a little while. And that's okay. So, boys, tonight we've got a little fallout about Saturday night's main event and what transpired on Saturday. Did you guys, I know you both watched the show, but what did you think of it?
I enjoyed it.
I guess we'll continue the pattern and say go heel again. I didn't like the fact they didn't fully embrace the retroness of it.
You wanted it full 1980s Saturday night main event.
You can't advertise we're going retro. We're going like the old vintage style graphics and less.
Are you telling the stage wasn't enough for you? The turnbuckles weren't enough for you?
No, it wasn't.
The red, white, and blue ropes weren't enough for you?
Not enough.
Jesus.
Get rid of the LEDs. Like, if you're going to do an entrance, just give me the curtain.
Oh, you really want them to go old school. Well, there's another show coming up on the 26th of January. Maybe they'll listen to you, Jones.
Give me the blue guardrails that you can see through.
You want it. Very nostalgic. Joey,
Yeah.
are you as uptight about the nostalgia as Michael Jones is?
No, I enjoyed the red, white, and blue ropes. I enjoyed the referee being in the blue shirt again.
Got my blue shirt referee LJN right up there.
I enjoyed the whole setup. I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it.
It was a pretty good show. There's criticisms online, but a lot of people are comparing it just to like a little bit better Monday Night Raw. I thought it was much better than what we typically get on Monday Night Raw. I'm not saying Monday Night Raw is bad by any means. It's been great, especially with the various storylines that are happening with Punk and Rollins and things like that this past week, especially. But I thought it was great. I love the nostalgia. Jones, I hear what you're saying though. If you're gonna go old school, if you're gonna go retro, take it back.
I concur with the
all the
thought
way.
that it was a slightly better episode of Raw.
Were the LED screens, was that what did it for you? You just
When you tell me you're going fully retro, and then you don't, it kind of is like you hyped me up to bring me back down. You built me up, Buttercup.
King J. Sean, sorry, says decent show, missed opportunity on the Winged Eagle replica, had big hopes for it. We're going to talk about that in a second, King J. Sean, because there's a lot of talk online, on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, and in the Facebook groups. Jesus Christ, the marks were going wild. They were going nuts. Joey, I know you've got some thoughts about that. Did you care that it was a replica, Joe?
I'll hold my breath for that segment, but I'll say this for Saturday night's main event. I did enjoy Jesse Ventura back on commentary.
So did I.
I thought he was classic heel Jesse. You know, I figured he would have been, the way they advertised it, I figured he would have been commentary for all the matches.
Mm-hmm.
But him with Joe Tessitore, I thought those two were a good combination. They meshed well. And then him as the heel commentary for the last match, like, especially with Cody in the chair, like, you know, Jesse, true heel, he hasn't missed a beat even.
I was gonna say, bro, he still hasn't.
Yes.
He hasn't been on TV and on commentary for a long time. But as Mike Martelli is saying, and Joe, to your point, he's got terrific charisma. It
felt like he found like the fountain of youth, like back there, like it just like transformed.
Jesse was he brought back a missing element we haven't had in a long time. We haven't had a heel commentator, a truly heel commentator that sticks with it. Looking at him and Tessitore on the platform I did enjoy. That brought back the nostalgia elements.
Very good camera angle.
It looked like I was looking at, I hate to say it, a young Vince McMahon and Jesse the Body Ventura.
I can see that with the suit, yeah. With the red handkerchief. Yeah, man. It had shades of that.
But I will agree with Joe. The way they built it up, again, to let me down. They made it seem like Jesse was going to be on color the entire night.
I got the same feel. When they advertised Jesse from the get-go, they made it sound like he was going to be an even bigger part of the show than maybe what we got. Not to say that his segments weren't stellar and that the charisma wasn't there, but I needed more the body on my screen on Saturday night's main event.
What they could have done, it would have broke his character as far as his storyline purposes. But for something like this, you can kind of suspend disbelief and kind of go that route. You could have had Karrion Kross on color. He does a damn good Jesse the Body Ventura.
Probably the best, yeah.
I think this was a good trial run for Saturday night's main event, and when it hits in January again, I'm sure they'll upgrade.
Yeah, hopefully they'll make the adjustments.
You figure this is the first Saturday night main event in a long time. And I know that they're going to look at what went well, what didn't go well, what could they change for next time. And I truly believe, Joe, I think they're going to look at those things and make some minor tweaks. Maybe, and Jesse has already confirmed he's going to be there. This is not just a one-off for the body. He is going to be back. And maybe he just needed to get back into the loop. Maybe he just needed to get back into it. And we got that little taste. And it's going to want us to want more. I think on the flip side of it, if Jesse was calling every match, not to say none of us on the screen didn't want that, right? But maybe they're building to it. We haven't had Jesse the Body Ventura on our commentary or on our screens for a long time. They're not going to give it all away. Not in the first night.
I guess I do have to have an issue with Michael Cole and Tessitore. They did catch the Damien reference that Jesse made
about his
that he was wearing Damien.
That he was wearing Damien's. That was a great reference. I don't think
Michael Cole was no selling it because Jake is on not actively, semi-actively on the other product. But run with it.
Hey, Jake's still getting action figures made. So I think his contract over at the other brand. It's exclusive. Look at this. Look at this guy.
I don't know who that is.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know who this is actually.
Hey, like we always say, like who you want to like. It's a panel, so you don't have to get stuck listening to one voice all the time.
The real belt collector. Well, we're going to talk about a belt in just a moment. let's get into that, because this is kind of what broke the internet. This is what made a lot of the marks, I don't want to say come out of their mother's basements, but slowly crawl up the stairs. Maybe ask for another TV dinner. Because my goodness. Good evening.
What's up, AD?
Hello.
You know, I don't know if anyone expected Cody Rhodes to come out with a brand new WWE or WWE block logo, Milliken made winged eagle for this event. When you can't get a hold of Mr. Milliken and he owes people thousands and thousands of dollars. No, let's be honest, right? Were they really going to get Dave to make a belt for one night only? And okay, I know we're going to get into the segments that took place after, but were they really going to get a hold of Dave to make a real belt for one night only?
No.
Absolutely not. Look, guys like Dan, for example, have been talking about this for years. The people in the belt world and that niche hobby that we are a part of, where this all kind of started, have not been able to get a hold of Dave Milliken for a long, long time.
Here's my issue.
I agree.
Here's my issue with it. You overhyped it. And it kind of been just cool if you just kind of just did a surprise.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
Like you blatantly had Triple H give him this elaborate case.
Look at little Nate.
He opens it. It's golden light shimmering.
Jones, it was too shiny in that case for it to be an old belt. Right? If you look closely on the bottom right in the signature and the copyright, yeah. He's got a few bootlegs in his beat shop, that's for sure. Let's see what the real belt collector has to say. Oh, look at this. Funny. Back to what actually matters. Yeah, from this angle, the belt looks pretty good. It looks all right, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think people are just taking this way out of proportion. It's a belt. I'm just happy to see the winged eagle back on my screen, to be frank.
And that wasn't a RKO like it was called. That was an Ace Crusher. I get you don't want to mention Johnny Ace, but that was an Ace Crusher.
I think that's why they chose to rename that maneuver. But you are correct, sir. Listen. And then, of course, Cody won at the end of the match. But it's what happened after the match that everyone was talking about, not just the winged eagle, right? Not just Cody walking out with it.
Are we still talking about that? Or...
We can jump in between.
Well, no, I was just going to say, like, we said it last week, that it would probably be a re-leathered replica.
Yeah.
I mean, just to see the winged eagle back on TV again was a treat for me. Could they have used the WWF logo one? Yeah. But I mean, belt marks are like I mean, I could be a belt mark. I like accuracy. Some people don't, I mean, it's just their preference. Everybody has different preferences. People in the hobby were upset, but it's just a hobby. Maybe some people should get that through their fucking head. But,
Oh, we're going to stay on this segment a little bit longer, Joey, because a lot of the belt marks need to find something else to do with their time than obsess over wrestling belts and replicas. Put it to you this way. Now everyone that owns a replica now has a ring use belt. And it's not the first time that a replica has been used on television. Replicas have been used on TV often in the past, not just in WWE, but in other wrestling promotions. Famously, I think back to when The Miz had the spinner replica on television for a number of segments. So why are we getting? Is it because it's the beloved, iconic winged eagle that everyone's getting their panties in a knot over it? Maybe, but at the same time, guys, like, it's okay to find another hobby. It's okay to do something else other than drool at your computer screens over wrestling belts. Please go outside, find a woman, find a guy, find somebody.
Yeah.
And spend some time with another human being. Jesus Christ. Go make some sweet love with someone that you care about, then obsess about a wrestling belt and post it all over the forums like it's the end of the world.
I mean,
Jesus. To Ronnie Fields' point, LA Knight had a replica too. Yeah.
the women had replicas.
Absolutely. And when they went overseas, they're not going to be bringing the real belts overseas. They're going to have replicas on television just in case something happens, right? In case they lose it. It has happened before where belts go missing. So why are they going to take that chance and risk, swagger with the World Heavyweight title? Like, there has been more than one moment in WWE's time where replicas have been aired.
Not that we even talk about them often, but at one point during Kenny Omega's championship run, he had a re-leather replica because he preferred the weight.
That's right. And was that during his belt collector storyline when he was walking around with numerous titles as well?
Yeah.
So that also makes sense because you figure when you are, part of the storyline, walking around with multiple promotions, belts around your waist or on your arms or whatnot. Yeah, I get it. Now in the hobby, Jesus Christ, some guys can barely walk up the stairs or touch their toes, let alone hold a replica on their shoulder. So it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, we'll see how much longer it sticks around. I mean, I want to know how many signed Cody Rhodes Winged Eagles has WWE Shop sold.
I'd like to know that too, because really that's what has happened, right? The whole point of also putting the replica on television is to boost marketing sales. Who's watching this product? For the most part, who's the main demographic that WWE is targeting? It's not us. It's our kids.
Yeah.
And when our kids are now seeing the Winged Eagle for the first time on television, Joey, I'm not sure if your son watched it with you, and I know you've got a Winged Eagle and all that, but if play with me, right, for a second. Let's say he sees it for the first time, and he knows that Dad's got a connection to that belt, and you're hyped up because the belt's finally back on TV. What's he going to turn to you and say, Joe? Especially, Christmas is next week. It's next week.
You know what I did? Came downstairs, grabbed my classic Shields Winged Eagle. I know some people get offended by that, but grab that, bring it back upstairs. Showed my son, said, listen, man, this was my childhood. Now it's back on TV. I mean, I know people want them to bring the Winged Eagle back. Maybe they'll keep it around for Cody's run. People don't like the big network logo. People don't like the big W. But I mean, UFC's been doing it for years. TNA did it.
Yep.
AEW has it in the middle. I mean, it's like, it's here to stay. Like, but I mean, for the nostalgia, Cody keeps the Winged Eagle around. Absolutely. It appeases everybody. Maybe they will have somebody make one and commission one. Or maybe they'll just use the replica.
I think they should really use my exclusive series Winged Eagle.
I mean,
I think that'll rub people the wrong way.
Do you think WWE really cares what the belt marks in a hobby think? I mean, I don't think they pay attention. I mean, as long as WWE sells some Winged Eagles on the shop, they'll be happy. That's all that matters.
That's the point.
To them.
You nailed it, Joe. And if your kid comes to you and, says, I want this for Christmas, or can you buy this for me, Dad?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Especially if they're going to be putting Cody's signature on it and selling it at a higher price point as well, just before the holidays. Yeah, it makes the most sense. I'd love to know, Joe, how many did they already sell? I can only imagine.
What if they did
They
this?
sold out or whatever they had.
What if they did this? The next Saturday night's main event. Braun Breaker comes out with the Legends logo IC belt that's on shop. What if DIY comes out with the classic tag? Maybe they come out with a Ruthless Aggression tag.
Ooh.
Can you imagine that?
Not just the golden era belts, right?
Yeah.
They start playing with some of the other eras as well.
Yeah, like what if maybe they could use the V2 Undisputed on the shop?
Oh man, if that returns, okay, I'm a big Winged Eagle mark, but if the Undisputed makes its way back on TV,
what if they start doing this? Just like, hey, like a one-off. Like, can you imagine DIY walking out with the classic dual-plated tag,
dude,
that is on shop for the next Saturday night's main event?
And it gets people talking, and it gets those sales because, like we've said, that's what it's all about.
Now, Shinsuke Nakamura, don't walk out with any other US. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of the Attitude Era US.
They could do a special WCW version.
They could do the WCW US shop version.
That's what I'm saying.
The 3-plater. But don't do the Attitude Era one. I'm sorry.
I have to agree with you, Joe. I'm not a fan of that belt either. But if it's a WCW replica, yeah.
Do a Saturday night's main event of all WCW.
True, man. But we are going to see the Winged Eagle around for a little bit longer. And Joey Jones. I don't know. I'm mixing guys up tonight.
We
said this a little bit earlier. Cody's going to have a bit of a break because this is what happened at the end of Saturday night's main event. A lot of people are upset that this didn't happen on TV, but guys, take it easy. It's storytelling.
This is the reality era. They've been doing it the last few events.
Like, it's not anything new. But Cody is out. He's confirmed that he suffered a cervical swelling and was kept overnight at a local hospital for observation. And they mentioned the word hospital. What the hell's a hospital in WWE? Not a local medical facility? While x-rays were negative for a fracture, Rhodes has been officially diagnosed with axial compression of the cervical spine as well as a cervical strain with spasm. So he's going to be out for at least 3 weeks. I like to imagine that we're going to see him back on the very first episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's missing that show.
Absolutely not.
Especially with the way they keep teasing everything. But I like the way it was done. I like the fact that a package power driver finally made his way to the WWE.
I have a conspiracy theory about that.
Ooh, do tell, Joey.
I think we're on the same page.
I think they're testing that out because somebody's soon arriving January 6th.
Yeah, I agree. I believe that was him as well. And you look at the pictures on the. I don't know if somebody was doctored up. It looked like Cody's hand was like that when he was on the ground.
Interesting. I didn't see that. But for that vignette that was teased, I think it's only fitting that one of the most recent AEW departures, if you will, whose catchphrase includes the word zero, is going to be making his debut in the WWE very soon. And hopefully our friend TK comes to his senses and releases Rey Fenix. I know that's Joey's favorite fight forever superstar. That's the only reason why that game got any gameplay is because Joey kept kicking everybody's ass with Rey Fenix and that super kick. But
I do not lose with Rey Fenix. I'm just saying.
No, Nico is still upset about it. Nico is still very, very upset about that. But no, it was pain.
Nico hates when Rey Fenix comes down the ramp in the Casino Battle Royal.
100%, man.
So does Vinny.
Shout out to Vinny Vegas. We
I
miss
can
you,
just
buddy.
hear Vinny now. Jesus. Oh my God.
At least he's not like Mirabito when he plays video games. That's all I can say. But you guys watched the Netflix preview show or the pre-show
did.
today?
Yeah.
I did.
It's pretty damn good. Now, okay, Jones, from this angle, right, Joey, from this angle, the replica doesn't look too bad. The mark should be okay. It kind of looks like a real belt from
In
afar.
different lighting, it shines.
Yeah.
Right? You can't tell that's not, good quality zinc, bro.
But it looks two-toned. That's the only issue.
There's nothing wrong with a two-tone winged eagle, Jones. I don't know what you're talking about.
Side plates look penny a little bit.
Yeah, they're a little penny. But that's the
But the main plate looks gorgeous. But
main plate looks really nice. Right? It's going to be around for a while. And if it means that I get to see and you get to see the winged eagle on TV for a little bit longer, let's just enjoy it.
it's being defended at the house shows. Since he is your real world heavyweight champion.
He is.
Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Now, you know what I do feel bad for is the kids that beg their parents to buy holiday tour tickets just to see Cody Rhodes. Cody's not going to be there, and they're going to be pretty upset because I know if my little guy begged me to go to a WWE event during the holiday tour, and we've gone in the past, I think before he was born, but he's a big Cody fan, and Cody's not going to be there. Kids are going to be upset, but there's a reason for all of this. There's a reason for why Cody Rhodes was taken out. And the reason for that is Cody's not as beloved as he once was, or when he first won this belt, is he? There's a few people starting to turn on Cody, and we heard it a little bit at Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
People are starting to boo Cody Rhodes.
I mean, we figured it would happen when he got the title. Because Cody's better in the chase than being champion.
100%. And we talked a little bit about this last week as well. He hasn't had that big opponent. He hasn't had someone to defend the title against that really elevated him to that next level as a champion. He is much better as in the chase than he is as the champion. And a lot of guys are. And that's no fault of Cody Rhodes. A lot of that has to do with just the booking. And although it's been exciting, he finished his story. But then what? What's next for Cody Rhodes? I think what they're doing right now with Kevin Owens is arguably the most exciting stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to see Cody Rhodes not on my television screen for a little while because it worked with Roman. People bitched and complained when Roman Reigns was not on TV, but it helped. Mm-hmm. It made you miss him. It made you want him to come back on your television screen every Friday night. And when you tuned into SmackDown and Roman wasn't there, not necessarily turn the TV off or change the channel or whatever, but you were disappointed. And then when Roman was advertised or when he came back or when he was set to be on SmackDown, everybody tuned in. And you got to do the same thing with Cody Rhodes. Otherwise, he's going to get stale, more stale than maybe he has been, and fast.
Everybody doesn't need to be on TV every week. They just don't. I mean,
it's overkill.
Okay, Cody doesn't need to be on TV every week. Takes a few weeks off. Takes a week off here. Takes a week off there. 2 weeks 100%. Off. Okay.
When you look at the depth of the roster on both shows right now, like you said, Joey, Cody can take 2 weeks off minimum. Mm-hmm. You can push it. If he's off for the next 3 weeks until they debut on Netflix, so be it. Yeah. Give that guy a break because he has been working a lot of the house shows. He's been doing a lot of press. He's been on the road for quite some time. He's working his ass off. Whether you love the guy or hate the guy, same goes for when Roman had his streak. Whether you love him or you hate him, these guys bust their asses off day in and day out. If that means he gets to spend some time with his family in this Triple H era, I'm all for it.
You also got to look at it this way. Many of our the champions of yesteryear weren't seen all the time. If you did, you see them in passing. It wasn't like they have to wrestle. There was also a 30-day rule at one point.
Yep.
That's been thrown out the window,
A long time ago.
but still, he doesn't have to defend it for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, they even mentioned this on Raw this week. The tag team titles have been defended twice in a 144-day
Something
period.
like that. Yeah, it's been a long time.
But we have new tag team champions, but still.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to the War Raiders.
They've got that old school vibe to them. I like them,
Yes.
and I hope they finally get kind of the push and the nod that they deserve, because they were great, and then they completely fell off in the previous regime in WWE, and now they're back, and I'm happy to see them holding the tag team gold.
Just think of like NXT tag team wrestling back in 2014, 15, 16,
Oh man, yeah.
12, 13, you know.
I say those were the good old days of tag team wrestling.
Yeah, and it wasn't that long ago. And we had such great tag team wrestling, and you look at it now, and it's not in the best state. And that goes for WWE, and that also goes for AEW, because AEW at one point as well, just to kind of, they want to stay relevant. We got to bring them in the conversation every now and then. They had incredible tag team wrestling at one point.
Era of throwing together tag teams. That's why.
Yeah, but then you had guys like FTR,
Mm-hmm.
a real tag team like FTR. What are they doing now? They're on Collision, and 200,000 people, if they're lucky, are watching that show.
I think they just got kidnapped.
I mean, if you're speaking of tag team wrestling, like back in the day, I mean, look at TNA,
Yeah.
Guns and Beer Money. Who can
That's
forget
one of
those
my-
best
one of my
of 7
favorite tag
series?
Ever.
Like LAX, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
We were spoiled.
All versions.
And for anyone who
Sports-
didn't watch TNA,
Sports Entertainment Extreme,
yeah, man,
the
It
Flying
really was.
Elvises.
Down in Graceland.
Oh man, but yeah, Joey, it's a good transition piece right there. TNA wrestling. Mike Jones, I know you were on Kevin Davenport's podcast last night, and you talked a little bit about TNA and the current state of TNA and the return of Miss Tessa Blanchard. We're not going to focus too much on Tessa tonight. I know she's part of the thumbnail. That's mostly just to kind of gauge interaction and clicks. But there's a lot of people leaving TNA.
Yes.
There's a lot of people leaving TNA just when TNA started to get recognition once again.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for over 20 years. They're the little train that could. They have not given up. They rebrand. They get new titles that are gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Scott D'Amore announces that they are going back to their roots. He gets fired. And now, at arguably one of their peaks, not their biggest peak, but one of their peaks, some of their top talent are leaving. I don't even know how many guys and gals are actually leaving. Jones, you're going to have to help me out with this. But guys like Rhino have announced via social media that they are no longer going to be wrestling with TNA Wrestling.
Then you got
Guys like Kushida is
Mm-hmm.
going back to Japan. His contract with TNA is up, and he's not going to have any more dates with the promotion. Who else is leaving, Jones?
Technically, Mike Bailey is still employed. His
Okay.
contract runs out end of the year, but he's gone. Trent Seven's gone.
There's another one.
Top Dollar's contract runs out end of this year.
Flop
I forgot
dollar.
about
Flop dollar.
and end of this year.
Yeah, into this year. He's actually been putting on great matches. Him getting fired by WWE was a blessing in disguise.
It was actually the best thing that ever happened to him.
He's actually turned his game around, and he has quite possibly the best choke slam in the business.
That's quite the statement there.
You got, surprisingly, Jade Chung just resigned.
And for those of you who don't know who Jade Chung is, Mr. Jones,
she was their ring announcer,
Was.
also the wife of Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander's ready to test a free agency in February, on Valentine's Day to be exact. So it'd be quite interesting, the fact that she left already.
you don't have to be a TNA mark to appreciate Josh Alexander.
He's a
If you want to just watch a good wrestling match, because the AEW diehards focus on how great the wrestling is in AEW. It's not that great. If you want to find a good wrestler, good modern wrestler, watch Josh Alexander.
So you're saying there's a chance I could see Ethan Page, Javon Evans, Josh Alexander in NXT?
Oh, there's a very
good chance.
Very good chance, Joey, that is going to happen. If you do get a chance to watch Josh Alexander's sit-down interview with Chris Van Vliet, please do so, because he really opens up and he talks about, for the first time in his career, he is actually looking forward to exploring free agency. And what does that mean for Josh Alexander? Does he resign? It's not off the table. But given the shakeup that kind of TNA is going through right now, and a lot of the names that are coming to the end of their contract, and a lot of the talent who have been featured on NXT television might be signing there full time. I would love to see Josh Alexander. There's the other one. But wait, arguably the biggest name.
We can talk about that shortly because it kind of feeds right into Tessa. But her husband's contract is up as well. He would fit very well with the No Quarter Catch Republic.
The current state of NXT right now, he would fit in actually perfectly. Because there are so many talented wrestlers that have not yet gotten the eye, or haven't had a lot of people look at them yet because they're not on the CW network, for example. Not a lot of eyes are on TNA because of this channel that they air on. But when we got snippets of them in the Royal Rumble, for example, or some crossover events with NXT, I think we're going to see a lot of these talented wrestlers jump ship from TNA to NXT specifically. Some of them will go to AEW. Not all of them are going to be able to fit on WWE or NXT TV.
I'm almost guaranteeing.
Who's that?
Mike Bailey is almost certain going to.
So the rumors say. I think, and you know what? I can see it. I can see him fit in there. But Jordan Grace and Josh Alexander, if they jump ship over to WWE, to NXT in particular, those are two huge pickups.
I mean, they have that working relationship.
Exactly.
And there's also, that rumor innuendo of why they're leaving is because Red ownership wants them to take a pay cut.
And then they bring in Tessa Blanchard.
Here's the thing about that. This isn't the first time TNA has shook up their roster. This isn't the first time they've asked talents to take pay cut. They've asked Bobby Roode to take a pay cut. They asked AJ Styles to take a pay cut. And the result was them leaving. It just depends on where you are and how you feel about your worth. I'm not saying don't take less than you feel like you're worth. Do what's best for you. Because you can go from being a big fish in a small pond to the small fish in the ocean and get buried. Just be to do what's best for you. Are you looking for accolades? Are you looking for money?
And it's not to say they can't go hand in hand. They absolutely can. But I think as a performer, you have to take into consideration a lot of those factors. And you have to look at what's, like you said, Jones, what's right for you. What's right for your family. I look at a guy like Josh Alexander. Time is not necessarily on his side. He's had a number of injuries that could potentially lead to something worse. If, God forbid, he hurt his neck again. And we've seen that time and time again with guys like Edge, with guys like Bryan Danielson, with guys like Stone Cold. You don't ever want to see that happen to any of the performers that entertain us. But the reality is, it's not just entertainment that these guys and girls put their lives on the line every time they lace up their boots, and things can happen in the ring. Josh Alexander is a prime example of someone who needs to do what's right. And looking at accolades, I think it's time that he gets his time on the big screen.
Agreed.
Same goes with Jordan Grace.
I will support him no matter which direction he chooses to go in.
Even if he goes to AEW?
I will support him no matter which direction he chooses to go in. It's just a matter where I personally think he should go, but he has to do what's best for him.
AEW. Do you have it on right now, Jones, in the background?
No, not right now.
Okay, not tonight. Is Matt Cardona on tonight?
I
think he
don't
might.
think he's scheduled,
No?
but you
Then
never
I'm not
know.
even going to tune in. The way NXT is building stars right now is the way to do it. When I look at AEW right now, who's the biggest star in AEW? It's probably the longest pause you've heard on PTM in a very long time because we know what we're talking about.
AR Fox.
Wow. I guess honestly, I guess what they would be considered their biggest stars would probably be Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin.
Oh, please.
I think that's who they would consider to be their biggest stars at this point.
Okay, who would you consider to be the big star? No, I don't want TK's jerk off fantasy. Who do you think is the biggest star?
They don't have one.
That's the problem.
They don't have anybody that says, "Oh, I have to watch because he's on there." But I take that back. I digress. As a wrestling fan, there is some people I feel like I have to watch. King J. Sean, it used to be. I really don't care about him being on there anymore.
I want to
He's in
address this.
Very bad storylines.
I want to address this. At one point, I would agree with you. At one point, I would agree that MJF was their biggest star. And he was one of the last reasons I would tune in to Dynamite. He's fallen off the cliff. He has fallen off the cliff, and I don't care about him. And that's the problem, because that's the potential of a homegrown talent. That is a star in the making, and you blew it. I don't care what MJF is doing on my television screen anymore, because they would pair him with guys that the story went nowhere. Don't Adam Cole has been a major flop in AEW. The best thing MJF did was, sorry to bring his name up, was his work with CM Punk. And after that, he fell flat. Kenny Omega, he's going to go to Japan in a few weeks.
So are the Young Bucks.
So are the Young Bucks.
I would say Omega's their biggest star, but he hasn't been around.
But because Joey, they don't need him, according to Omega. He thinks AEW is in a good state right now. And AEW doesn't need Kenny Omega. This is coming from the mouth of one of their EVPs. As a Canadian and a fan of Kenny Omega, I think that is the worst thing that he has done since the development of Fight Forever. Okay. The downfall of MJF, John Bedoy, definitely needs to be studied, because you remember the hype about him possibly jumping ship to WWE and showing up at WrestleMania? Do you remember him talking with The Rock and the Buzz on social media?
Or even him at the Rumble showing up?
Dude.
Yeah.
And yet, where are they now?
Still feuding with Adam Cole, and it's going flat.
I'm wrong. I forgot. I know who their biggest star is.
Let's hear it.
This is not a joke. This is legit. Their biggest star is Mercedes Moné. Whether y'all like it or not, she's technically their biggest star.
I'm ending the stream. It's over. It's done. I thought you were going to say Chris Jericho for a second.
No. It's Mercedes.
Easy, Joey. Easy. So I'll take a deep breath. Jones, if what you said is true, and I think you're right when I think about that. My God, what a state AEW is in ending this year and going into 2025. They've already shifted one show from their big stadium in Australia to a smaller venue.
Mm-hmm.
And I What are the tickets? I'd have to pull this up. The tickets for their show coming up in Texas for all in.
All the reports I've seen, over $1 million in sales.
But that's
But
what is that? Like 6,000 tickets?
it all depends on where the seats are.
Dude,
but
$1 million back in the day used to be a great gate. Not anymore. What the hell's $1 million?
Tell me this. Tony Storm comes back. No more timeless Tony Storm. Back to the old Tony Storm.
That's right.
Why would you have a first match back on Rampage? That's like Cody coming back from an injury and wrestling on Velocity.
That's a very good comparison.
Like, I'm just trying to figure this out.
I think everybody is.
And then you've got John Bedoy says in the comments, the fact that Ricky Starks ain't on TV is a crime. Joe, I know you and I have had a little back and forth about Ricky Starks and whether or not he's a star. But when you look about the hype of this guy, and you look at that promo that he cut on GCW, and then all of a sudden he gets pulled, and he's not allowed to go work at GCW. He's not on television. He does his sit-down interview with Chris Van Vliet, and then now it's radio silence. There's no talk of Ricky Starks.
You know what's crazy about all this? Okay. I wasn't a fan of Ricky Starks. But I like what he's doing. Okay. He's getting his shit out there. You see a lot of people doing this. Matt Cardona did it. Went and done all this. Okay. Ricky Starks is doing this. Like talking all this shit. And then like, you know. Like they're not using me and all this. I think Moxley did it when he left WWE. You know, there are little few things.
Yeah.
I think they're paying homage to the first person who did this. Because Ricky Starks right now is the talk. Like, I want to say like the biggest talk, but you know, you're getting talks about him, which is what you want. The first person to do this, Brian Pillman, the loose cannon.
That's a good point.
Brian Pillman was the talks of all three promotion.
Yep.
Okay.
Never knew where he was going to show up.
Everybody wanted him. Okay,
like
Brian
Jones.
Pillman was a star with that loose cannon gimmick. Got fired by WCW. Went to ECW, just showed up. There, I think it was CyberSlam.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, yes. And when those lights came back on, he's standing there with that cane and Joey Styles in the ring. The crowd just erupts. And he does that stuff. Like, I like what they're doing. Because it's smart business for themselves. Is it hurting them, their pocket financially? Maybe. But hey, he's telling them, you ain't using me, so what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to voice my opinion whether you like it or not. You don't like it? Oh, get rid of me then. You know? Like,
Let me go.
yeah.
Let me free.
Yes. They're in a win-win situation because he's still getting paid regardless.
Yeah. The only downfall of that is when you keep a guy on the shelf for that long.
Yes.
When he does finally get his chance to be free. A lot of ring rust.
Yep.
A lot of ring rust. And a guy like Ricky Starks, I remember watching him when NWA was actually worth watching. And I knew he was a star.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the reasons why I tuned into NWA at that time for Ricky Starks. And then when he jumped to AEW, man, I was excited. That's when AEW was hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think leading up until the point he was supposed to have that match with Punk, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Then Punk gets fired. And then that's it for Ricky.
Yeah.
You guys see the video of the fan with the sign saying, "We want Ricky," and they asked Tony Khan to sign it. And Tony Khan kind of laughed it off and flips it over to the side. Such a friggin' mark, man. I can't stand it.
He said,
if one of us on the screen won a $1 billion and started a wrestling company, I think we would do a hell of a lot better than Tony Khan. Just saying.
100%.
John Bedoy goes, it's not really smart business. It's making the company look crap. I agree, but I also agree to Joe's point as well, John. At the end of the day, it's a win-win, but you know what? We could say it's also a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Right. And then, kind of to go back to our initial point, then you bring a talent like Tessa Blanchard in. And we're not going to go too deep into Tessa Blanchard just right now, because we do have a big TNA talent that is going to be on our show in the new year. We're going to be interviewing Moose. For those of you who haven't heard, we are going to have Moose on our show, and we're going to also ask Moose his thoughts. And he's been very vocal on Twitter about bringing back Tessa.
That was his old roommate, though, so they're very good friends. Here's what I'll say. I'm going to be very brief about this. I'm pretty sure this is a testing moment for her, because she's been out of TNA for over 4 years. There are some things that were brought to my attention recently that I wasn't originally privy to. So I don't think we'll ever all fully know the full story about what happened with her. She could, some of the people involved in the bullying have been online saying things are good between her, while others are saying there isn't.
Yeah.
What's true and what's made up, we may never know. What I have to say, and this is not me being cliche because it's her tagline, it's undeniable how talented she is as her in-ring performer. If she could have had the world before, I hope she's matured and comes back ready to go and things are different. Because I saw huge things for her. I thought she was going to absolutely jump to WWE, and because there's money in her and Charlotte being horsewomen, legit by lineage.
Absolutely.
There also is a gap in the 4 horsewomen in WWE right now. So since there is a working relationship with AEW, WWE,
easy.
WWE, we were talking about AEW, so I got caught in that. So WWE and TNA, now if she behaves and there seems to be no issues, while she's technically working for them, she could be utilized in WWE with no strings attached.
100%. Might be their way to see if she remains in the good books. They can utilize her on their television programming without even paying her.
When is her first appearance in TNA?
She appeared already.
On Friday.
On Friday.
So
she took out Jordan Grace.
What pay-per-view is coming up for WWE?
Royal Rumble.
Yeah. You could put her in there. See the pop she gets. Have Charlotte Flair come back. Have those two have a stare down. Those two known each other for a long time.
Just have them walk past each other.
Yeah, even on the ramp. You don't even have to be in the ring together. You can just tease it.
You could have Jordan Grace in the Rumble again. You could have Tess and Jordan face off in the Rumble. Like, there's some avenues there. But the crazy thing about Tess is she's still only 29 years old. Like, she's still in her prime. She's still young.
And so much time has gone by with all of this stuff.
Yes. And she's a popular person, but she also has little controversy. Okay. But I think that's what you need in the wrestling business. You know? Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Look at Punk. I'm just saying, just a little bit. But all that talent is there. She has it all. She's a 5-tool player.
People are talking.
She has it.
And if all the talent that we mentioned a little bit while ago are on their way out, they are lacking in that star power.
So you need that.
And I think Tessa fits the bill. Whether you love her or you hate her, she's a draw. And Booker T said on his podcast that forget the hearsay, forget the negativity, and let's hope that she can kind of redeem herself and get back on the horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, speaking of people that are looking for redemption, and we're going to be not too long with this storyline, because usually we focus just on professional wrestling. We talk about WWE, we talk about NXT, we talk about AEW, we talk about TNA, and any of the other promotions where there's newsworthy storylines that are worth discussing, any controversy. With that being said, it still ties into WWE, because not that long ago, Mr. Logan Paul said that he had retired from WWE. He's a father now, and he's done. And yet today on the Netflix pre-show, Mr. Logan Paul returns.
Teases with Gunther a little bit.
Teases with Gunther. He says he's going to be going after and become a world champion one of these days. It's only a matter of time. And he said, yeah, you know what? I am a bully. Not just online. I'm a bully in real life. And he cut a pretty good promo, if I might say. Pretty good promo. Now, I don't really want to see him and Gunther go at it. That's my own personal kind of gripe. But he's back. Mm-hmm. He's back, and he's also back in the WWE at a time where he might also be getting a big fight outside of professional wrestling. I mentioned a moment ago, speaking of people that are looking for their redemption story, this individual, Conor McGregor, tweeted this out yesterday at 4:08 a.m. It says that the rumors about are false. I am in preliminary agreements with the Ambani family to face Logan Paul in a boxing exhibition in India. I have agreed. I will then seek my return to the octagon. I'm going to keep this up just for a second because I don't know about you guys. Have you ever heard of the Ambani family before?
Yes.
Yep.
I haven't. And I don't know if a lot of that's just because I'm Canadian. I live in an igloo. But I don't know if a lot of people, a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of people necessarily know who the Ambani family is. And I think it's worth noting that they are one of the richest, if not the richest families in Asia, the continent. For those of you that are not very good in geography, Asia is not a country, it is a continent. They are the richest family in Asia. Now, the younger son of, I'm going to butcher the names because of the language barrier, but Durabi is also has a brother named Anil, and they have taken the family's wealth to an extent beyond the realm of what we can imagine. They are like the Tony Khan, but I guess richer if we're trying to put that into perspective. This is a very, very rich family. Mm-hmm. And if Conor is in talks with this family to try and set this up, it'll be interesting to see, is this just all smoke and mirrors? Is this just rumors? Is this just Conor going on Twitter or on X and spewing whatever comes to his mind at 4:08 in the morning? I don't know, because there was a series of tweets that he was shooting off at that hour and the days that follow. But Joey, I know you're a big UFC fan.
Yes.
Before I show any of the other tweets, I'd love to know, what are your thoughts about this initially?
So listen, Conor is doing what he wants everybody to do. Talk about him. Conor will say off the wall shit on X just to get people talking. Okay. The Ambani family is getting into boxing. Dana White and the Ambani family are, I want to say partnership, like Dana White's talked about getting into boxing as well because he started in boxing. And him and Ambani would be together and form a boxing. The state of boxing right now is in flux. It's
true.
You don't really have that many big stars. You have a few, but not like what it was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Even early, yeah.
Yeah, or since Floyd. Conor can't do nothing until Dana gives the okay. Will Dana give the okay? I don't think so. Dana's going to make Conor's first fight back into the UFC, not in boxing. Because it goes in boxing, doesn't matter if it's an exhibition. He can get hurt in training or anything that derails his more UFC fight. So, I mean,
You gotta throw this in, Joey. I want to hear your thoughts, man. You're on a roll. I'm sorry to interrupt, but just keep going, bro. Because Ilya responded to Conor's tweet and said the rumors of the bout with McChicken are false. I don't fight, nor am I interested in fighting with
yeah.
a rapist.
A rapper.
I'm not going to say the word because I don't
rapper.
want to get, I don't want to lose our monetization. We're
Listen.
making a lot of money on this show.
Ilya Taporia is a UFC featherweight champion. Ilya Taporia is a bad mofo. That boy can knock people out in an instant, okay? He talks a lot of trash, but Ilya backs it up. He's the first Spain champion, UFC champion from Spain. Knocked out Alexander Volkanovski to win the title in the second round, I believe. Defended that title against Max Holloway, who's the current BMF champion, a couple months ago. And Max Holloway knocked out Justin Gaethje. And anybody knows about Max Holloway doesn't get knocked out. Ilya knocked him out. Ilya dominated that fight and knocked him out, I believe, in the second or third. Like, Ilya's just on a tear. Like, I'm sorry, if Conor comes back and fights Ilya, Ilya's probably gonna knock Conor's head off.
Conor has been in the octagon for how many years?
It's been a couple. His last fight in the octagon was against Dustin Poirier when he broke his leg. Ilya's a young, up-and-coming fighter. Ilya's still in his 20s. I think he may be 27 or 28. Ilya's a bad dude. Sorry, man. These fighters, like me and good pal Nico, and
Shout out to Nico.
and another, we were talking, some other people as
27.
well. These fighters these days that are coming up are just a different breed. They're just built different.
Conor didn't stop. This tweet.
He's going to keep going. He's probably drinking.
Yeah.
All right, listen, this is Conor at his finest. He's getting you to talk about him. It's what he wants. Like,
Just sipping on that proper 12.
oh, Proper 12 cut off the relationship with him. After
He lost all of his
Yeah.
sponsors. Everybody has dropped him.
I mean,
So, Joe, to your point, he's trying to get people to talk about him.
as quicker as Conor rose up, his rise, the fall, I wouldn't say fall, but I mean, he hasn't won a lot lately. But I'll tell you this, when he comes back to the UFC, the pay-per-view numbers will sell because he's still a draw. People want to see him either get knocked out or knock someone out. His press conferences are a must-watch. I'm going to say it's Jake Paul does the same thing. You love him or hate him, but you tune in to either see his ass get knocked out. Conor is a polarizing figure. And Conor's going to keep doing this because Conor loves to ruffle feathers a
100%.
lot.
And he's good at it.
Yes, and he doesn't care. He's going to keep doing it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Jake Paul because I've got a tweet from him in just a moment. But there's more. Go to his X page and you'll see even more of his many tweets that he has put out since the back and forth kind of started. But he has been on a bit of a tweeting spree. And he goes that, he has found God. God has chosen him and he has accepted. Thank you to all those who have looked at this impartially and are supporting me in my fight for justice. The truth shall prevail as God is my witness, and the praying hand emojis at 3:43 a.m. Now, I don't know if Conor has actually found God or if this is part of his story, his redemption story as a fighter. We have seen in the past a lot of not just wrestlers, we've seen a lot of athletes in general, a lot of people who are in hot water then kind of follow a similar narrative, right? And they're on their path to bettering themselves, and in that time they turn to religion, they turn to God. And a lot of the times, I'm not saying that it's not valid or it's not honest, but a lot of the times it seems like this could just be part of that story arc. But for his sake as an individual, I hope he gets the help that he needs and he finds comfort in God and religion. I'm happy for him as an individual because he has done some horrible things. But like Joey said, he's a draw. People are talking about him. And whether or not this fight takes place or not, it's already stirring the pot, stirring the buzz. And if it does happen, a lot of people are going to tune in and they're going to make a lot of money about it. But Jake Paul,
I love the tattoo.
Jake Paul goes on to say, now it all makes sense why Conor and his management team have been desperately trying to get MVP to negotiate for a fight between us. As we told them privately, and I'm now saying it publicly, the only way we're willing to explore me versus Conor in a pro boxing or MMA fight is if Dana White and the UFC are at the table directly or make it clear that they are okay with discussions. Conor is washed, needs the Pauls. Logan by however he wants. And this is how it all ties together with our friend Logan Paul, who popped back up on television today. Jake had his fight that 60 million people tuned in on Netflix a few weeks back.
Crash the server.
Crashed the server. A lot of people were upset. WWE is moving Monday Night Raw to Netflix.
Well, that many people be watching Raw, so that's not. We don't have to worry about that.
They don't have to worry about that. And we talked a little bit about whether or not people are going to be tuning in or resubscribing because the prices of Netflix have gone up as well. But there's a lot of talk with the Pauls and this potential fight with Conor McGregor. Is it going to happen in 2025? And I know we're a little over time, but Dana White did say something, Joey, that did spark some eyebrows as well. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about this before we close out the show tonight.
So I anticipate a lot of big fights. I got something in the works right now. I'll drive you fuckers crazy. All you guys will be running around. I got something in the works that you will never fucking see coming for 2025. That literally started to come together last night, and we got some fun stuff coming up.
Now with the TKO. Mm-hmm. And the relationship that the UFC and WWE now have under one company, I cannot help but speculate, Joey, that maybe there is something in the works. But you're the UFC guy, bro. What do you think?
If it's anything, it's going to be in UFC. I don't think it's Logan or Jake fighting in the UFC. Listen, I went to UFC 118. In Boston Garden when James Toney, former boxer champion, fought Randy Couture. That fight ended in a couple minutes, okay? And that was sad, okay? These boxers coming to MMA, it just doesn't work. Can UFC fighters go do boxing? Sure, because you have a lot of guys that have had some pro boxing and amateur boxing fights under their belt. It can translate. But you come from boxing to MMA, you got to learn wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo, all this stuff. Yeah. I think it's a big UFC fight. I don't think it's Paul. TKO may want to step in, but also Dana is his own guy.
That's true.
Dana could say, hey, man, I want Jake Paul to fight Conor McGregor in June at this pay-per-view International Fight Week. Dana would be like, I ain't making that fucking fight. Like, why would I want to do business with him?
100%.
So, I think it's a UFC fight that could be Jones and Aspinall, maybe, but could be something else in the works. Don't know. But I was looking forward because I'm a big UFC fan, so 2025, I'm ready because 2024 was a big year, and it was a fun year of fights.
It's a lot of good cards, a lot of good matches in the UFC this year.
Yes.
And we'll see what happens in 2025, not only with the UFC and the rumors that are kind of circulating around Conor McGregor getting back into the ring in some capacity and against Logan Paul, maybe. And then with Netflix and the WWE jumping over to the biggest streaming platform in the world. Mm-hmm. Gentlemen, this is our last show of 2024, if I'm not mistaken.
So should I be Santa Claus or the Grinch?
If you want me to be perfectly honest, I'd like you to be the Grinch.
Okay, then. Should I be
But
the
before-
Grinch right now?
Give me 1 second because I want you to be as Grinchy as you like to be.
I'm not gonna go full screen. I'll just say that.
No. We don't need to do that. I'd like you guys to, it's been an interesting year to say the least.
I'm gonna be a Grinch because
Go for it.
no, I'm just gonna be a Grinch because I'm gonna say this. I thought about not saying nothing because, as my good buddy Jay Cross says, the wolves don't concern themselves with the opinion of the sheep. And Jay Cross, I miss you, baby. Much love. But, so I'm going to not go too harsh, just a little bit. Just going to get my point of facts across because some people don't like to put facts. Okay. So, I got sent this video of a senior citizen talking about me. All right. Yeah, people send me videos too, jackass. Like people send you videos. Yeah, go fucking figure. So, I'm watching this video. I don't need to read a script. I'm just freestyling right here. My eyes are red because I just smoked a joint before the show. Go figure. You shouldn't smoke. It's bad for your health. So, listen. This person called me a 14-year-old who hasn't hit puberty or just hit puberty. Well, I was under the weather, so right there to you, bitch. So, this person also said, I have no value into the hobby. See, this is the problem with these people. They take this hobby so serious, okay? I have no value to the hobby. Okay, like I give a shit if I have value to this hobby. I collect what I collect, like and comment where I want to. Okay? This person also said, I was a randomizer for one of the biggest scammers in this hobby. Yeah, that's true. But if you did some research and knew the facts, one of your co-hosts also did the randomizer for that scammer too. So think about that shit, dummy. Okay? And you're saying, oh, why does he want to show himself in the hobby? He was, you know what? Why do I want to show myself? Because I ain't do shit. Okay? Let's get that shit straight. PTM, when that person scammed people, we helped people. We gave belts away. We did a GoFundMe for an awesome person who got used by that person. Where were you at? Where were you? Think about that shit. Where were you? You were nowhere in the fuck to be found. Okay? And, this person says that we've been going after him and his hosts for the past month. No, we haven't. This shit started because PTM and another podcast had a scheduled interview with Classic Shields the same day. Okay? Miscommunication. Shit happens. Okay? And guess what? This shit had nothing to do with you, but you want to stick your nose where it doesn't belong. And if I look at this past year, I wonder why you had issues with 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck, I lost count. Because you want to play the victim and act like you didn't do nothing. Okay? You've been taking shots at us for a long time. Ever since that interview. Talking about the views. Talking about all this shit. We sat back. After the Classic Shields interview, we had the Big Shots interview. Okay? And mind you, those two interviews, the Classic Shields interviews on PTM and another show were fucking great. Okay? So how about you stay in your fucking lane? Okay? We didn't talk about you, but you kept talking about comments and going after us on other people's shows in the comments and even on your show talking about views. So we decided, hey, you kept talking about us, so we're going to do a show that says, what do you want to talk about? And we addressed it. But now that we addressed it, you want to complain, saying we're talking bad about you. And like I said, you want to play the victim. You want to jab. But once we started hitting back, you want to play the victim. Okay? Shit don't work like that. So get that straight through your head. Okay? Now I'm treading lightly here. Okay? Because I will tell you this. Stay in your lane. We stay in our lane. If you want to keep talking about this, I will keep talking. And I will get really dirty and personal, okay? Because there's some stuff I can say. but I won't. So I'm going to tell you right now, we don't talk about you. You don't talk about us. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, old man.
That was beautiful, Joey. I'm going to piggyback on what you said, just because my name was also brought up in that video that was also sent to me. And I feel like we said everything we had to say during our last show, where we addressed it. We made a joke. We took a shot about intros. And just to be clear, because I know someone snipped that and sent it to Kevin. And yet on our same show, Michael and I both did a shout out to Davenport and Ethan and commended them on all the great work that they're doing on their podcast. And yet someone took it out of context to try and say to Kevin, see, they're talking about you. They're taking shots at you, Kevin. It wasn't a shot at Kevin. I think what happened with the Classic Shields interview, like you said, Joe, was a big miscommunication, not on our part, on theirs. And people take things out of context and they try and spin their own narrative and tell their version of the story to try and pin people against one another for absolutely no reason. And if, Joe, you don't have any value in the hobby, oh, well, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
If I don't have any value in a hobby, oh, well,
that's the problem.
It's a hobby. People don't like me because I'm associated in some way, shape, or form with Classic Shields. The difference is I don't work with them. I don't get paid to do a raffle. I don't get paid to just show a belt that's in my collection. It's not, it might be a free advertisement for them, but you think about it. Anytime we post a belt and we say who the maker is, we're advertising that maker, whether we're conscious of it or not.
People do that shit all the time. I mean,
same with leather. If you ask who did the leather on this belt, for example, it's a free advertisement when you think about it. So I think it's important moving forward, especially as we're ending 2024, for us to, and I said this last show, I feel like a broken record, but I think it's important for everybody to cool heads, to stay in your lane, and to stop this constant, I don't even want to say a back and forth, because I think on our side, it's not really, we're not doing anything. We're not saying anything.
Nope.
I've blocked a bunch of people, and I'll tell you why, Mark, why I blocked you. I blocked you, sir, because when you allow fake profiles to comment on your show or on your pages, that, and on the one hand, you're saying, we shouldn't be bullying people. We shouldn't be making fake profiles of people. And then you allow that, you're a hypocrite. And so that's why there's that little, I guess, animosity between this show and yours. But it's nothing personal. But I think being the adults that we are, being the parents that many of us are, it needs to stop. It needs to stop because it's pointless. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. And I feel that I'm at a point now in my life, personally, not just in a hobby or collecting or anything. I'm pretty much done with that. But I'm at a point in my life where I just don't care, because there's nothing that someone can say on the internet that's going to keep me up at night, that's going to bother me, or that's going to affect my mental health, or make me feel any less of what I am doing maybe in this hobby, because I'm at a point now where I'm just trying to give back, as so many of us are, you guys included. So let's cut this out. Let's be gentlemen. Let's be respectful. Let's be men. Stay in our lane. You do your show. We do ours. Everybody's happy.
I forgot to mention one thing, because in that video he said I had fake profiles that like to troll. Listen, he's probably talking about my YouTube name. Have I changed my YouTube name a few times? Yes. I was testing the waters to see what names. I used Old School Kid and the Flawless One. Okay. Did I troll? I may have made one or two comments. I don't call it trolling on your show. I used to watch your show a few times. Okay. I changed my name back to Joey B. Okay. I didn't make a fake one and then delete it. I changed it back. So when you go back into the comments, guess what? You could still see it's me. So I didn't make no fake profile. I just changed my name. And then I changed it back. I was just testing the names. But I mean, hey, that what keeps you up at night and makes you happy, go ahead. Because
to be frank, the biggest thing that bothered me from that video clip that was sent to me was not any of the things that they said about me, because I could care less what any of your opinions are about me. I've what are some of the things that they've said? I've sabotaged interviews. I rig raffles. I kick people out of PTM. There's a whole bunch of things. I'm a middleman, excuse me, for CF. Whole bunch of things that you guys have come up with. The biggest thing that bothered me is that they called you a scammer, Joe.
Yeah.
And I've known you for a number of years. I've known Michael Jones for a number of years. I've known Vinny and Jay for a number of years, and people that have either been associated with PTM or just people in our greater circle. Joey, you and I bicker every now and then, all in good fun. And even though if we don't always see eye to eye, we do this show because it's fun.
Yeah.
We do this because we love wrestling. And we want to kind of carry on what PTM started all those years ago. That's why we're still on. That's why we moved dates. That's why we're on here on Wednesday now. We're not on Thursdays anymore, because we try to extend an olive branch. The fact that you make a claim about someone that I care about without any proof. And it's not just saying, oh, Joey, that hat you're wearing is stupid. No, you're saying something where you're putting your reputation and your name on the line. You're saying that you scam people out of money. That's the insinuation.
That's what I got for somebody. I was a scammer.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was a co-host that was also randomized. So is he a scammer too? I'm just like trying to figure this out. I mean,
I don't think there's much thought that was put into even though there was a lot of thought put into that script, I don't think there's a lot of thought that was put into the words that were written on that page. Because you guys can say what you want. Again, there's no back and forth. This is silly. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. Michael, I've said to you guys both in private, and I'll say it publicly here, and I know Vinny said it too, and it's not even worth repeating, but since we're closing things out with a bit of a bang, I didn't come into Pounding the Meat to replace anybody. I didn't come in to take over, give Vinny the boot, and become the leader of Pounding the Meat. I respect everything that Vinny, Jay, Mike Jones, Joe Vitanza, and Ethan Thompson did with Pounding the Meat up until the point that I joined. I think that everything that you guys did, especially during the pandemic year, paved the way for so many podcasts out there. And it's an honor and a privilege for me to now be part of that and to try and not replicate, but continue that legacy in that sense with my own twist. And so I thank you, gentlemen. I am happy to share the screen with you every Wednesday or every time that we are able to go live. And I know at the end of the day, at the end of the year, there's a lot of reflection. There's a lot of preparation. And I hope that you gentlemen on this screen and everyone watching, both live and at a later point in time, have a wonderful holiday season, a very Merry Christmas, a very happy Hanukkah, a very happy Kwanzaa. Everything that you celebrate with the people that you care about, that's what matters. It's not a stake that you have in a hobby. Enjoy the time spent with the people that you care about, and we'll be back in 2025. We're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Michael Jones, you never know where Michael Jones is going to show up, to be honest. And I know that Joe Vitanza is not going anywhere. The only place that we are going is right here on Wednesday nights, Pounding the Meat. Podcast. You can't hear me?
Now
I hear you now.
Oh, I'll repeat myself. I said I feel like Joey and I have taken up the last so many minutes of this podcast. I would like the floor to be yours, the head of the meat, to kind of sign us off in 2024.
All right, this has been a great year. It had its ups and downs. A lot of happenings in wrestling. TNA was brought back. Contrary to popular belief, it wasn't all Scott D'Amore, but it's TNA's brought back. Things are actually flourishing without him there. That's not a shot at Scott. I'm just saying. There were some podcasts. There were some wars. I'm about love right now, but don't call me love. No Diddy. I will spread love because that's what I do. There will be some interesting things coming down the scope for us on PTM. There'll be some interesting things coming down the scope for other podcasts. Like I said last week, and like I'll say going forward. You never know where I may pop up, but I'm always coming back home. So if I appear elsewhere, it's because I have a relationship with them. But this is my home. This is where I will be. And until we decide to end it all, we will be here. However, you got 2 weeks without us. Please don't miss us too much. Take this time to enjoy your lives, your family, because Christmas Day, I'll be busy. And so will the gentleman above me. New Year's Day, I will not be sober or coherent enough to even try to figure out how to work this computer right now. Just being honest. And hopefully you'll be in the same kind of situation. So, 2024, it's been real. 2025, I'm looking forward to embracing you and things that come my way. So, from Matt Panetta, from Joey V, this is Mike Jones, signing off for the last time in 2024.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Peace.